Good evening, everybody. Hello, my name is Tracy, and I'm the Chief Executive of Hospice UK, for those who don't know. I'm really excited about this bit. We know that hospices up and down the country and everybody who works or volunteers in them do amazing things every single day. But this is our opportunity to learn about some people and some projects that have really gone the extra mile and learn from them. Before I go into the awards and the award winners, and before I officially open the Hospice UK 2016 Awards, I'd like to invite our sponsor from the National Garden Scheme, George Plumtree, who's their Chief Executive, to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Hello, everybody. Some of you I may have seen earlier this afternoon at the Healing Environment session. I'm just going to quickly tell you a little bit about the National Garden Scheme, which some of you may know about. But we were founded in 1927, so we celebrate our 90th anniversary next year. We were founded by the district nursing movement, the Queen's Nursing Institute. A rather eccentric idea, you might say. One of their trustees stood up at a meeting about 90 years ago exactly, and they were raising money for a memorial fund for their recently deceased patron, Queen Alexandra. And she said, I've got a brilliant idea how we'll get people to raise money. We'll get them to open their gardens and donate the proceeds to us. It must have sounded mad to some of the other trustees. Well, less than a year later, 600 gardens opened. They all charged 1 shilling, and they raised £8,000. 89 years later, in 2016, some 3,800 gardens opened, and they will, by the end of this year, have raised well over £3 million. And every year, we give the proceeds of what our wonderful gardens raise, completely voluntarily. We give all those proceeds to a group of nursing caring charities, continuing to include the QNI, also including Macmillan, Marie Curie, Carers Trust, and, of course, Hospice UK, who we have supported since 1996. And I think for many people at the NGS, it's a really wonderful and important connection to have with the hospice movement. One of the new ideas that we launched this year, having done some work on it for about the last 18 months, is to promote the whole idea that gardens and gardening are good for your health and well-being. We commissioned a report which was published by the King's Fund in May, and we were very gratified by the attention it got in the media, and it seems to have built on what I think is an important and growing movement in health, that is this kind of non-prescriptive, non-clinical healthcare that things like gardens can offer. And I think it builds into a lot of what we've been talking about and discussing today. As I said earlier, I chaired a session this afternoon, a really interesting session about the healing environment and how that is what hospices offer. And I think there's a really important point there, which I'm just going to finish with. I think, if one thinks of things like Simon Stevens' 5-year forward view, and I know a very great priority for Hospice UK's chairman, Lord Howard, is this idea that we must stop the number of people who die in hospital completely against their will. They die there because they're there and they can't get out. And the quality of their end of life, the healing environment is just so much better in the hospice environment, whether that is in a hospice as a place or at home with hospice care. And I think Hospice UK is looking like being a real leader in this development, which I'm sure will succeed over the coming years. And we will do everything we can to help Hospice UK and all of you hospices in achieving that, I think, really wonderful goal for people at their end of life. So let's move to the awards, which I love these awards. I've done them for a number of years. I think it's a great thing to recognise all the fantastic hard work that people put in lots of different ways in hospices. Of course, you might not be surprised to hear, I'm particularly delighted to hear that there's a category for Gardner of the Year. I'm very, very pleased that this year there's a new award for a young volunteer. I'm also very proud that one of the awards is actually going to a member of one of my National Garden Scheme teams. A member of our Lancashire team is going to be collecting one of their awards. And finally, another connection, we've been having contact with a winner of another award about gardens in their area. So we have lots of contacts with the actual award winners as well as with Hospice UK more generally. And as I said earlier, I'm very proud to be here and involved with your awards. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Well, that was actually a very pertinent introduction, and talking about as well our chairman and the work that he's been doing to try and get people out of hospital at the end of life, because that brings me nicely on to our first award winners. The first award is Innovation in Care, and it's been won by St Luke's Hospice in Basildon, Essex. What they've done is looked at people with advanced liver disease and their access to palliative care. And they teamed up with Basildon Hospital to give a unique project. They developed a new pathway for end of life, for all stages of the condition. And they included those identified as potential transplant candidates. To date, 29 patients have been registered on the project, many with complex and previously unmet needs. Early indications show actual improvements in people's symptoms and their overall quality of life. And with the support of the hospice, 3 patients have improved enough for them to be recommended for transplant when they previously were not. The project has also significantly helped reduce hospital admissions and GP visits. What we really liked was the fact that this approach can be taken to a number of people with non-cancer diagnoses, not just advanced liver disease, and we can learn a lot from this collectively. So I'd like to invite up to the stage Sharon Quinn, the Support Care and Development Manager, and Virginia Campbell, who's the Specialist Nurse Practitioner at St Luke's Hospice in Basildon. Congratulations. And we're just going to pause for some pictures. Our second award is Innovation in Income Generation, and it's been won by a hospice that you may have seen on telly this morning, St Catherine's Hospice in Preston for St Catherine's Park. Now, what they did was they opened up their grounds to the public and they developed a nearby 11-acre site in partnership with the local council. And they created St Catherine's Park, which is the first park to be opened in the South Ribble for 40 years. What they wanted to do was combine local ideas, like a World War I centenary memorial, and they wanted to get local people accessing the hospice. But they also wanted a way to raise funds. So they opened the Mill. The Mill is a coffee shop and restaurant, and if anybody's been there, it's absolutely fantastic because the cakes, I can tell you, are enormous. It's generated a total income of £90,000 in its first year, and the brand new parking facilities are bringing new visitors to the area and raising the profile of the hospice. Many people didn't even know it was there. We felt it demonstrates real innovation and what can be achieved with a vision from the Chief Executive and the Board of Trustees in the hospice. Tonight, the award is going to be accepted by Lynn Kelly, who's the Director of Knowledge Exchange Services at St Catherine's Hospice in Preston. category is Innovation in Volunteering. And this award has been won by Princess Alice Hospice for their ward support volunteers. And they worked in partnership on this, as many hospices do, learning from each other. So they were inspired by a visit to Willen Hospice. They developed an innovative 6-month project aimed at 17-year-olds supporting staff in the inpatient unit. And they initially had some concerns about exposing young people to hospice care. But by working together and involving all levels of their clinical staff, they overcome these fears, and the project proved to be a valuable experience for the young people involved. Nearly 90% of that first intake for the project felt they were more compassionate and had a far better understanding of death and dying as a result. There were some really strong entries in this category, but we really felt that it stood out because it demonstrated innovation by involving volunteers directly in patient care, where many hospice staff are often reluctant to involve volunteers directly, and especially such young volunteers. It was a 6-month programme, so they really felt that the young people really became engaged, and they really felt that they'd had that change in compassion and understanding by the end of it. Not only that, but knowing how we're trying to help young people into the workforce, volunteers were able to gain a care certificate qualification, and they were able to experience firsthand what it's like to work in a hospice. So I'd like to invite to the stage Zoe Byrne, Head of Volunteer Development at the Princess Alice Hospice. So now on to the individual categories. And the first one is Volunteer of the Year 2016. Now, we try not to give special commendations, we really do, but in this case, we had to make an exception. So our special commendation goes to Jamie Ward at St. Catherine's Hospice in Preston. And Jamie volunteers at the Mill Cafe, which we've just talked about. He's been volunteering there for 2 years. His responsibilities include taking food and drink orders, serving customers, and operating the tills. Now, what's special about Jamie is that he has Asperger's syndrome, and he's spoken openly about how this has affected his confidence in the past. But through his dedication and his willingness and incredible effort that he's really put in during his time at St. Catherine's, the staff have really commented on how his newfound confidence shines through. He really enjoys the role, and he's really keen to develop his social and practical skills further. He's become an integral part of the team, and he now has a paid role 1 day a week in the cafe. So I'd like to ask you all to give a round of applause, please, for Jamie Ward. Thank you very much, Lynn, for accepting that on Jamie's behalf. So the winner of Volunteer of the Year 2016 is Carl Roche from St. Christopher's Hospice in London. Carl has volunteered at St. Christopher's now for 33 years. He started out looking after patients and families, and during his time at the hospice, he's worked across different teams, including the Care Home Project team in 2009 and in the fundraising team. He's a banker by background. He's worked all through his career with the hospice, and he's known as somebody who makes every minute count, who's reliable, and who has a great sense of humour. He's well respected and a highly valued member of the St. Christopher's team. He's never missed a volunteering shift, even though he's had to combine this with actually quite a high-profile job. The staff comment on how he flies a St. Christopher's flag on every occasion. He always wears a hospice-branded fleece, and he attends local hospice events in his spare time. He also ensures that staff are kept up to date with what's happening in the local community and regularly shares news on local activities and newspaper articles. And Carl's here himself to accept the award. Come on up, Carl. Now we have a new category for this year, which is Young Volunteer of the Year 2016, because we wanted to celebrate the fact that so many young people work with hospices and so many schools do. But when we put this out, we had no idea how young the volunteer would actually be who would win this category. And the winner is Ellie Tetley from Hospice of the Valleys, who started volunteering for her local hospice at the incredible age of 4. She's now 7. She became an inspiration to everyone at the hospice, not only through her impressive commitment and dedication at such an early age, but also in the positive way that she dealt with the loss of her great-uncle, to whom she was very close. He died from cancer just before Christmas in 2013, and with the hospice's help, he was able to die at home as he wished, instead of in hospital. The experience moved Ellie and motivated her to help other people like him. Now aged 7, Ellie and her great-aunt tirelessly spend hours making lots of different items, including greeting cards, socks, and bags of sweets to sell at the hospice's Blarney shop and at local hospice and community events. So far, they've both raised more than £1,500 since they started fundraising, and the family has taken part in hospice events such as the annual Canal Walk. Up to receive the award will be Kate Galloway, who's Ellie's great aunt, but we are actually going down to the hospice in 2 weeks' time to present the award directly to Ellie as well. Please come on up, Kate. Now the award that's close to George's heart, Gardner of the Year 2016. And this has been won by Ron Willett of Keach Hospice Care. Ron is the volunteer head gardener at Keach in Luton, and he's generally given his time and provided exceptional service for 16 years. Whether he's watering the hospital's beautiful hanging baskets, mowing the grass or clearing the leaves, Ron works hard to keep the stunning hospice gardens in tip-top condition, whatever the season. No job asked for him is too big, and he greets everyone with a smile. Aged 84, he shows no signs of slowing down and turns up for duty at the hospice come rain or shine from 7 o'clock every morning. That's 5-6 days every week, often arriving before the staff. Ron became a volunteer at Keach following the death of his wife at the hospice in July 2000. Ron often goes well beyond the call of duty. This summer, he agreed to write a letter to 3,000 supporters of Keach to accompany the charity's magazine, Keach Matters. And it led to the Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, personally requesting to meet Ron during their visit at the hospice in August 2016, as they were so impressed by his services to the charity. I'd like to invite Ron to the stage. That's Ron Willett, the volunteer at Keach Hospice Care. We now move on to our Founders Award, the Anne Norfolk Lifetime Achievement Award 2016. And this has been awarded to Patrick Beasley of Hospice Care Exeter. Patrick Beasley, to give him his full title, President of Hospice Care in Exeter, Chairman of Butterfly Children's Hospices and formerly Chairman of Hospice Care for 9 years, receives this award in recognition of his outstanding service to the hospice movement in Devon, nationally and internationally. In recognition of his outstanding service to the hospice movement in Devon, he joined Hospice Care in 2007 following a distinguished career as medical director in an acute trust and in the independent sector. Under his leadership, Hospice Care reached out to more people across the region and developed new services, including opening 2-day centres, introducing innovative volunteer roles such as care navigators and piloting hospice at home services. But that's not all. Patrick chaired Butterfly Children's Hospices since 2009, which provides palliative care to babies and children in 2 hospices in China. He was also a trustee of Hospice UK from 2012 to 2016, and he's renowned for his strong leadership, warm and generous personality, and indefatigable energy. He's long championed volunteering and has been instrumental in fostering collaboration between hospices throughout the South West region. Please would you invite to the stage Patrick Beasley from Hospice Care Exeter. The final award is for Outstanding Contribution to Hospice Care 2016, and this has been awarded to our partner, St James's Place Foundation. This award's been given to an organisation that has shown significant generosity and commitment over a number of years. The partnership between St James's Place Foundation and Hospice UK first began in 2002, and the foundation is now our largest grant-making supporter. Its grant programmes have helped support a range of services, including hospice at home, rehabilitation palliative care schemes, volunteering programmes, and support for people with dementia approaching the end of life. We simply couldn't have run these programmes without them. We're immensely grateful for all the funds raised by St James's Place partners in support of hospice care during the years of our successful partnership. We're very proud to count the foundation as one of our longest standing and most valued partners, and their support has made an incredible difference to our work. So to say a big thank you, please come up to the stage. The award who will be accepted by Francis Dalton, Grants Manager at St James's Place Foundation. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Well, that closes our awards ceremony for this evening, but I'd like to say a huge thank you to everybody who put nominations in, because it was very, very tough to judge the awards this year. So without further ado, I'd like to ask you all to join us in a glass of wine downstairs in the exhibition area, please, and we'll see you all in a little bit. Thank you very much.